Hi everybody, this is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. Well, I did a little video in frustration this morning because I walked out and found that 4 of my tomato plants had been decimated by my squirrels. It's the only little area that I did not completely enclose in chicken wire. My fault. I had put metal cages all around them, just any kind of metal scraps I could find. I had wound it into like circles and put it, and I tried to put the little spiky ends of the metal up to keep the squirrels out, and I had just decided I didn't need it, so I took it off. And about a day and a half later, the squirrels took down 4 of my tomato plants. Now, they didn't mess with the other 4 that were sitting right by them in another bed, but I can tell you what, that would be tomorrow morning's story. If I don't do something today, that would be tomorrow morning's story. So I've decided I've just got to do something. I've got to be proactive. So we had to go somewhere a while ago. We had to go to another city to take some information to a doctor's office for Richard. And I said, I'm gonna go to their local co-op while I'm around and go ahead and get another 50-foot roll of the chicken wire. And I just got the 1-inch chicken wire to keep these squirrels from going through it. I did mess up accidentally and bought some chicken wire that had the 2-inch holes, and it's working in as far as nothing else has been dug up in those beds, but I don't know why, because I do know that the squirrels can get through it. My grandson and I opened the curtain one morning and there was squirrels inside of those cages, but they just kind of get in there. We watched them and then they got out and left. I don't know why, but they have not dug up anything that's behind that 2-inch chicken wire. I went ahead though and bought more of the 1-inch. That's what I thought I was getting both times I purchased it. One time I just messed up and bought the wrong thing. So today I went by that co-op. I got another 50-foot roll of 1-inch chicken wire. It's 30 bucks. It's 30 bucks. I could go buy a case of tomatoes at some point for what I've spent on just chicken wire and T-post for one bed, but I want to grow tomatoes. I want to grow them. And while I was there, they had their flowers out and everything. I just walked over there and looked. They barely had any tomato plants left. The ones that my squirrels decimated, I had started. I had grown as seedlings. I had babied, and I was looking forward to growing them. It was some variety of black tomatoes I had got from Seed Savers Exchange, and so I wanted to grow them. But I just said today, well, instead of putting something else there, I don't really need any more beans or anything. I want to put some tomatoes back. So they had some Cherokee purple plants at this co-op. So I went ahead and grabbed 3 of those. And while I was there, because I was replacing 4 tomatoes, so I knew I would have a little extra room. So I just grabbed a 3-pack of some peppers as well. So I think they were called emerald peppers or something, but it's bell pepper. So I grabbed some of those as well. So my first thing is I've got to go ahead and plant that stuff in this bed. And then I'm going to come, well, let me stop. I'm going to plant this new stuff in that bed. And then I'm going to try to cover that bed and the bed next to it that they didn't get, but that I'm worried they'll get tonight. I'm going to try to cover both of those with the chicken wire. The problem I'm having is I don't have enough T-posts. If any of you have been watching my channel for any length of time, you may have seen that I built this handmade tool rack and garden tool rack. I am loving it. It serves every purpose that I need. I love it. I've got all my garden tools hanging on it, my rake and my rubber rake and my metal rake. I've got shovels. I have room for about 3 shovels on here, plus more if I wanted. I have extra spaces. But I also put a little trough area down here at the bottom. You can see there's like a little trough area where I can let things sit on the inside. I got all my bamboo poles that I use for staking tomatoes and stuff. I've got fishing rods right here. But also in here, I knew that I had these 2 pieces of rebar. They're long pieces. I guess they might be 6.5 to 7 foot tall, I guess. But I knew I had those in there. I'm gonna pull those out and I'm gonna use those. I've got a mallet and I'm gonna try to drive them in the ground. I've never used the rebar for my chicken wire stuff. Rebar is strong, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if it'll like bend too much. I'm not sure. I'm gonna use it though, because I really need 4 pieces of something, and I have these 2, and I think it'll get me by for right now. These are the 2 beds that I'm worried about. This one is the one that got attacked last night. It's done. Even my little sweet meat plant that I had showed y'all on my garden tour the other day that was coming up and growing, my winter squash, it got dug up. So this one's starting over. And if you're wondering what this black tub is right here, I actually had 2 sweet potatoes sitting down in some dirt, and we're letting them grow slips off of them so that I could plant sweet potatoes. Well, they went missing. My fault. I guess I didn't put them in Fort Knox vault, but they went missing. Yesterday, when I went to the dog pen to bring the dogs some food and water or let them out or whatever I was doing, there's my sweet potatoes laying in the dog pen. So they got those. I don't think they're the ones that got these tomatoes though. If they would have done that, they would have just grabbed the plants and ran with them or something, but these had little holes dug everywhere, just like the squirrels dig all over my yard. So I'm pretty sure this was squirrels. But okay, so I've got to put the chicken wire around here. So I would need a T-post here on this corner, a T-post it there on that corner. For sturdiness, I would probably need one of my little white plastic posts here to keep the chicken wire from kind of bending in and all. You need some stability. So I would probably need at least 1 or maybe 2 of those posts there. I don't have them. Over here, I would need a post there, a post down there, and probably 2 of the white posts. What I'm gonna do right now, just as a stopgap, because I just got back from being at the co-op, completely never even thought about the T-post. So now I'm home. If I want to go back to Tractor Supply or somewhere, that's another hour or so of errands to run, or even if I run up the road to the co-op, I'm still going to be gone 45 minutes to an hour. So right now, while I'm here, while I'm in the mood, while I'm filming, I'm going to go ahead and just put the rebar post there and there, and I'm going to go ahead and wrap it with the chicken wire, because I've got to get these plants protected before tonight. The squirrels can just go through this. They can just go through that little wire that I have there. The only thing I just try to hope is that these little pointy things and all will keep them out of there, that they're not going to like that and they're not going to go in there. But they can go right through that if they wanted to and do whatever they wanted. So I need to get some chicken wire around these. These are black Seaman tomatoes. I have 3 of them there, and they're growing so good, and they're great seedlings that I had. They're doing good, and I do not want to lose these to squirrels like I lost the other ones. Okay, I got those 2 corner posts put in. They were about 7 foot tall. I drove them about 2 feet in the ground. So they're still taller than my chicken wire is going to be. But I tell you what, I was about beat doing that, so that's going to be good enough. I'm fixing to open my chicken wire, which is not fun, because I think some really sick-minded people work on that chicken wire. They wind it on there so tightly, and then they hide the end parts of it to where you cannot really figure out how to get it undone. I struggle with it every time I open one of these. But what I was going to say was, I'm still confronted with this issue of having this bigger mesh along the back, and I like this bigger mesh because I do grow whole beans on here, and you can reach through here and pick beans, and some of the leaves come out on this side and you can grow them to this side. You know, they can loop over the top of this and everything and come back down and stuff, and it's so easy to harvest beans. I don't want to really wrap this backside in 3 foot of chicken wire, but if I don't do something, I worry that the squirrels are just going to get back in. It depends on how bad they want these other tomato plants. What I'm thinking is, so I have this long piece. It starts there and kind of curves and comes back around. I guess all together it's about 5.5 feet long. I'm thinking what I might do is just set it against the back part of that other mesh, but instead of lining it up with the other mesh, I'm gonna make these things be in the middle of the other mesh. So that'll leave little shorter openings. And then I'm just gonna turn these prongs that come up, I'm gonna bend them down like that over the other wire, over this part of the other wire that's behind my tomatoes right now, and just kind of set it along there. It's not going to be all done with zip ties or anything. I think if I just do these things over, let it kind of sit along that thing and stretch it out, I think it'll work. Now I'm probably going to be a little bit short, but I've got a couple of other pieces I can do the same thing with. Let me do that real quick and see if that works. I will say though that I don't have enough to do both sides with. I just don't think I have enough left. So I'm gonna have to punt. What I could do, I'm thinking out loud, y'all. I'm thinking this through as we go. I am not teaching anything today. I am thinking this through as we go. I've got this piece along the front. These pieces, I put those there a long time ago, kind of to hold in dirt, but also to kind of keep my dogs from being able to walk by and hock a leg on some of this stuff. Trying to protect my plants in any way I can. So I do have that. So if I'm putting chicken wire across the front, I don't necessarily need this little lower lying mesh. I can take that and put it along the back, and it's short, but I can do 2 rows if I need to, and just kind of do what I need to get that done. I wish this was more of a, you know, really good looking flower bed area here. It's right by my carport. It's where everybody parks and walks up. This side too, I really wish this wasn't kind of just a homemade rigged area. I may take it all down in the next year or two and do something really nice out here, but for right now it's fine. I'm just growing food. People don't ever comment on the wiring and stuff. They just comment on the tomatoes and stuff when they come up. You know, like last year it was just like, oh, what you growing and what kind of pole beans are those, you know, because I had pole beans all along here last year. And all along here, and I would tell them what varieties I was growing, and you know, we could pick or whatever. People don't really care, and if they're your good friends, don't worry about it anyway. Right now I'm just trying to grow food and get some systems in place because I'm new to this property. This is only my 2nd growing year, and I just want to get the food growing. I just want to get these beds kind of fertile. I can tell a big difference this year than last year. And things I think are going to start growing a lot better in here. Next year it'll be even better. So I might can rip all this down later and make it look really decorative, or you know, a good walk-up area. I'm not too worried about it right now. Well, I don't see anything wrong with this. It hooked over just like I thought. It's made it to where I don't have as big of holes, but you see how big the holes are at the top? And it's a lot more grids at the bottom. It's a lot more grids. I don't think a squirrel can get up in there. So I'm pretty happy with this. The only thing I do need to do is get a couple of zip ties. The second piece I put on down at the other end just kind of bows out. Couldn't get it to lay flat, so I'm going to come back and put a little zip tie on that. But the rest of it looks fine. I think it's going to be good, and I'm not going to have to waste that chicken wire square footage by going behind this, and I'll be able to pretty much get to my beans. This piece is probably, I don't know, about not quite 2 foot tall, but I think that's tall enough to kind of keep the squirrels out. The front part where the other chicken wire is going to be 3 foot tall, and then I do kind of have this little scary barrier of this other mesh. Squirrels don't tend to want to get in things and get caught up. They're very skittish. They want to be able to get out quick, and I think this will be enough to kind of deter them from even going in there. Cross my fingers. put my chair over here and I'm going to work on this other side, but same process, so no need to show all that. But I'm going to get that back side of this filled in to where no squirrels can go through, and then I'm going to work on planting my plants here. Just going to attach this outside edge of it to this post with my zip ties. I always keep a lot of zip ties on hand because I'm always needing them. I've literally used about 200 or more of them out here doing all my other flower beds. And this is a brand new pack, and I'm fixing to bust it open and use it for this project. Just hooking these zip ties onto this corner piece. And I'm gonna pull this as tight as I can. I don't have any brace posts for the middle of these two, but I'm gonna go get some at Tractor Supply in a minute. I like to kind of pull from the bottom first to get that bottom really taut, because that's, you know, you don't want a squirrel going up under it. You gotta think like a squirrel. I've also got landscape staples, and I'll go along here and staple down 2 or 3 of them along this edge so the squirrels can't go under there. I was just kidding. But you do want it tight because you want your staples to do their job as well. You don't want it all loose and bowy. As I wrap it around the back here, I'm going to attach it to this post, and then I'm going to have to get my little clippers, and I'm going to have to clip this wire, and then I'll move this bolt of chicken wire to the next one. A lot of times I'll leave a little gate. I'll, like, instead of doing this with zip ties, I'll leave this last little post with just wire so that I can open it up and walk in there if I need to. But I'm not going to need to here. This is going to be pole beans. I can tell you, I mean, I'm tall, so this only comes up to my waist. I can lean over and grab what pole beans that I need from this side. And then the tomatoes, the same thing. I can do maintenance on them, and I can also pick them and everything and look for hornworms with this 3-foot chicken wire in front of it. It's no problem. So I'm just going to zip tie this one here instead of doing a little gate, and then I'll move on to the next bed. I have not planted the plants yet, so I'll do that, but then I do need to run to the co-op or to Tractor Supply, wherever I go, and grab 2 more T-posts, and I need to grab 4 of the little white posts. Well, I just left the store, and the little plastic things they had today were purple. Not really what I wanted. I know I said I wasn't real concerned about decoration and making it really fancy, but I'd rather the white ones over there by my driveway than the purple. So what I'm doing is I'm walking over here to these 2 here that are under this tree. They sit in the shade, and they're behind this dark green fencing. So I feel like the purple ones would do better over here. The rest of them in my yard are kind of out in the sun. It'll be really obvious if they're purple, but these are under a shade tree. So I brought me some scissors over here. I'm gonna pop off those zip ties and take these. There you go. That'll be a new home for the purple T-post. They don't stand out as much right there. All right, that's a wrap. Got it finished. Got that end finished. And got this end wrapped up. This end's a little bit off square because this T-post over here, I couldn't put it on this corner anywhere around in there. It would, the T-post would not drive through. It's right off the edge of this rock driveway, and this driveway's been here for I don't know how long. And that was a big rock bed that I tried using my shovel and digging down into, and I could not get past the rocks. So I kind of had to offset this post a little bit. But it's all right. It's okay. What I did was I just left that inside little wire barrier down there. It's hard to see, but I left the wire barrier, so that gives this one something to kind of go around the edge on. I got the emerald fire peppers planted, then I alternated with a Cherokee purple and did that all the way down. I'm fixing to water them in and put this bed to rest. I've still got a little green peas that I'm picking every now and then, so I'm leaving that. And then I only have a few of my pole beans left on this end. Whatever was down here is gone. So another casualty of the attack. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replant more. And it's easy to replant even though I've put up this chicken wire. I have I use my rake and I make a divot in the hole in the ground with my rake. And then I have a long piece of PVC pipe, just regular PVC pipe. And what I do is I just put the end of the PVC pipe over the divot I make with my rake handle. And then I just drop the seed here and it goes down, and I can either use this to kind of rake dirt in, or I can use the rake end, you know, the regular rake end to rake the dirt over. I use this method whenever I don't feel like kneeling down or stooping over or bending my back for a long time. I'll just go along a row, put a bunch of divots, and then I'll come back with this thing, and I don't have to bend over and hurt my back or anything. So it comes in handy. I'll do that right here. I'm gonna give it some watering and put this bed to rest. And hopefully these over here will be protected tonight. I can't see how they won't be, so I feel pretty good about it. I feel like it'll be protected, and I will get some tomatoes, hopefully, off of these black Seaman tomatoes. Can't wait. And I took that one surviving, well, it was laying in the dirt, tomato plant that I discovered this morning. I only had one out of the 4 that was even there, and it had been pulled out of the ground and was laying in the dirt. I picked it up because it was still green. I think it all happened early this morning. And I put the big plant in this water bucket. It's got its little root ball system down there at the bottom. But what I did was I took some suckers out of the little V-joints of the tomato plant, and I put the suckers in this mason jar with some water. Someone suggested to me to maybe put some of it in dirt and see if it roots. So I may pull one of these out and try that. I haven't checked up all day to come back in here and even think about doing that. But I may do that tomorrow and just maybe leave one in water and one in dirt and see what happens. But hopefully this Kurnovich Yugoslavian tomato that got attacked this morning, maybe this one out of the 4 can pull through. And maybe I can end up having some late tomatoes come off of these plants if I can get them to do good and to kind of survive. This one looks pretty darn good. It's upright. Its leaves are standing up. And so I'm just hoping it'll kind of heal back up. I may just ought to go stick it in the ground. I don't know. This morning, kind of in a panic, I put it in the water. But trying to do what I can, trying to save these plants and save the ones that are still out there so they don't get attacked tonight, and trying to hold the line. That's just my goal right now, is to hold the line and take care of my things. This is Lainey at Hilltop Home Place. Y'all have a wonderful day. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.